What if you could bring your loved ones back to life, not in flesh and blood but as a digital entity, an AI-driven virtual personality? In the realm of advanced technology, the line between science fiction and reality blurs. We are now exploring the concept of resurrecting the dead through artificial intelligence technology. Yes, you heard it right. We're talking about creating a virtual version of a deceased person using their digital footprints, their words, their mannerisms, all compiled into a digital avatar. But as fascinating as it sounds, this brings us to an ethical crossroad. What does this mean for our understanding of life and death? And what are the ethical implications of this possibility? These questions are not just philosophical but very real and pressing. Imagine the case of a woman named Jane, who lost her husband John. She's desperate to hear his voice again, to see his smile, to continue the conversations they left unfinished. She decides to revive him digitally. An AI-driven entity is created using John's social media profiles, his emails, videos, and voice notes. The avatar looks like John, talks like John, even laughs like John. But here's where the ethical dilemmas creep in. First and foremost, consent. Did John consent to this digital resurrection before he passed away? If not, is it ethical to use his data, his personal life, in this way? Secondly, authenticity. This AI-driven entity may mimic John's behaviors perfectly, but can it truly capture his essence, his consciousness, his spontaneous reactions, his inner thoughts, or is it just a well-crafted illusion? Lastly, the potential for exploitation. In a world where data is the new gold, could these AI-driven entities be misused? Could they be manipulated to portray a version of the deceased that never truly existed? This brings us back to Jane. She's interacting with this digital version of John. She's sharing her day, laughing at his jokes, crying at his comforting words. But the question lingers. Would she truly be speaking to her husband, or just a digital ghost? Imagine speaking to your departed loved one. Their voice, their mannerisms, almost perfect. But would this ease the grief or exacerbate it? With the advancements in artificial intelligence, it's no longer far-fetched to consider the possibility of digitally resurrecting our dearly departed, a comforting thought perhaps to some. Yet it's essential to ponder the psychological impact this could have. The human mind is a complex entity. Grief, an integral part of our emotional spectrum, is a process, a journey towards acceptance and healing. But what happens when we interrupt this process? When we provide an alternative that seemingly defies the finality of death? Interacting with a digital version of a loved one could, in theory, provide solace. Hearing their voice, witnessing their mannerisms, could offer a sense of familiarity, a sense of continuity. But in doing so, are we treading on the precarious path of prolonging grief? Are we nurturing a false hope that keeps us anchored to the past instead of moving forward? Consider the case of a mother who used AI technology to speak to her deceased son. She found comfort in conversing with the digital echo of her child. But what started as a comforting interaction soon turned into a daily ritual, a constant reminder of her loss. The digital son was but an echo, a shadow, devoid of the unpredictability, the growth, the essence of a living being. Moreover, there's the challenge of differentiating between the digital and the real. The digital persona, however advanced, is a construct, a programmed entity. It lacks the capacity for spontaneous emotions, for personal growth, for change. It's a static representation of a dynamic individual. So while the allure of holding on to a piece of our departed loved ones is understandable, it's worth questioning the psychological toll it might take. In seeking solace in a digital echo, are we merely prolonging our pain? In a society where the dead can live again, how would our perception of death change? How would it impact our relationships, our laws, our very humanity? The idea of resurrecting the deceased as virtual personalities extends far beyond the realm of personal grief and ethical dilemmas. It leads us to confront the broader social implications of such a technological breakthrough. Imagine a world where societal norms are rewritten, and the line between life and death blurs. Death, a universal constant, has shaped our societies since the dawn of time. It has given rise to rituals, traditions, and an understanding of life as a finite journey. But what happens when death is no longer the final chapter? Would we still cherish the moments, knowing we could live again in a digital realm? The legal landscape would also be significantly impacted. Who would own these digital personalities? Would it be the family, the creators of the technology, or the individuals themselves? The potential for misuse is vast. We could see a rise in identity theft, with unscrupulous individuals exploiting the digital identities of the deceased for their gain. And then, there's the question of art and creativity. Consider a hypothetical scenario where a famous artist, long deceased, is brought back to continue creating art. Would this be a celebration of their genius or a violation of their legacy? And if the artist's virtual personality starts producing work that the original never would have, who gets to decide what's authentic? Moreover, with the potential to resurrect the dead, we risk creating a society where death becomes trivialized, a mere pause before a digital second life. This could fundamentally alter our understanding of mortality, and by extension, our appreciation of life itself. So we must tread carefully. The allure of resurrecting the dead as virtual personalities is undeniable, but so are the potential pitfalls. It's not just about grappling with loss, it's about understanding the profound and far-reaching implications for our society and humanity at large. In a world where death becomes a mere pause, what becomes of life? Technology often outpaces ethics, but in the case of virtual resurrection, the ethical and psychological implications demand our careful consideration. Throughout our journey today, we've delved into the profound ethical dilemmas that come with this groundbreaking technology. We've explored the psychological toll it could take on those left behind, and the potential societal shifts that could arise from blurring the line between life and death. It's clear that while the idea of resurrecting our loved ones in a virtual realm may seem enticing, it's not without its complexities. The potential for misuse and the psychological impact on those interacting with these virtual personalities are factors that can't be ignored. Therefore, a thoughtful and careful discourse around this emerging technology is of paramount importance. Regulation, oversight, and ethical guidelines need to be established to ensure the technology is used responsibly and respectfully. As we stand on the brink of a world where death may no longer be the end, we must ask ourselves, should it be?